Welcome to a new Cyberpunk video and welcome to the best build you can make with the current system before Phantom Liberty. Last week I've already given you a glimpse of what is possible and how this build actually will turn out, and today I will show you the full build video including every perk, every cyberware and everything you have to get. This build will be the best hacker, the best gunfighter and the best melee build all in one. You no longer have to specialize your build into hacking, gunfighting or melee fighting. This build can simply do everything with one single point distribution. You never have to change this again, at least until Phantom Liberty drops. To achieve that, we will have to use all the tricks and glitches we have found in the past years. First and foremost, the new short circuit glitch. You can play with any low level weapon and still deal the same maximum level short circuit damage boost. Some people actually said they believe it is intended, but there is no way it is intended that an unupgraded weapon on level 1 with 48 DPS is still able to deal the full level 50 short circuit damage boost with 10,000 DPS and over 20,000 damage for every bullet you shoot. So this is a major flaw and we can abuse it to its full extent by never upgrading our weapons again. So you can simply use whatever weapon you find and simply leave it at their level and completely ignore their DPS because you will always deal the maximum short circuit damage boost. Another very broken mechanic we have found in the past is the infinite RAM, which you can achieve by using the memory boost together with the Forget-Me-Not perk. After that you can spam infinite amounts of short circuit one after another without ever losing RAM. A key component to make this work is getting a lot of points into the merciless finisher, which also means we have to get a maximum intelligence and a maximum stack of cool. This is easily affordable because we don't need any of those tech points. We have over 15 skill points left by not going all in into tech, which we can easily spend into body to get the survival perk with second heart. At body 16, second heart is unlocked and it will always revive you on death. That means whenever you get killed, you will simply stand up and you can continue to play, which simply makes it the best cyberware in the game, and of course we will use it. And if you are a fan of slowing down time to kill your enemies, you will still be able to use Kirenzikov to do almost exactly the same. You can activate Kirenzikov whenever you want to by just holding the aim button, then press the stick into any direction and double tap the dodge button. However, if you don't have a high reflex level, you will only have a lower version of it. But the craziest thing I found out since the video from last week is that you can also apply short circuit when you play with blades. So no matter if you play with the lowest blade possible with just 100 DPS, you will still deal up to 20,000 damage from short circuit by stabbing your enemies. And of course it also allows you to use a Satori on any level without ever upgrading it. The way you have to play this build will basically always be the same. You have to make sure that your first kill actually triggers your cold blood stack and your merciless. That is easiest achieved by simply quick hacking them with short circuit, and after that you can simply go to another enemy and all the damage will now come from the short circuit damage boost. Of course, it is key to increase your crit chance with all your weapon to be 100%. Around 24% of your crit chance will come from your character. Then you have to add the amount of crit chance on your weapon sheet when you actually draw it so that all the perks are applied, and then you have to add the merciless finisher crit chance to get exactly 100% with your main weapon type. So if you have a weapon with a higher crit chance, you can adjust and reduce the amount of points which are needed for merciless. But now let's finally check out the build. One of the best weapons you can use for this build is the Problem Solver. The Problem Solver has the highest fire rate in the game and it also has one of the highest magazine capacities. Since we only have to hit our enemies once before they die, this weapon is perfectly made for this build. I've never upgraded this weapon since I found it and it is still at 100 DPS, but of course with the short circuit damage boost we will get over 20,000 damage for every bullet we shoot. Upgrading any of these weapons will be a total waste of resources and it will not further boost your damage anyway. In the mod slots I've equipped the handyman scope because that shows me the ammo count directly in the center of my screen, and then of course go for an AC A-Swang which gives you an additional 70% to your damage. The epic version can be purchased from Wilson's shop. You can also get legendary ones, but these have to be looted with a lot of luck from gigs and other locations. The legendary version will give you 25%, so if you have it then definitely use it. The only other mod slot will be filled with a counter mask to counter the heavy recoil of this weapon. Another really cool weapon I was long long looking for a use case for is the Pride. The Pride has a very special feature because it gives you an additional 10% crit chance. The Pride can be unlocked when you complete the Rogue ending, and it will be dropped by Rogue. I won't tell you how, but you will definitely get it. Since it is an endgame weapon, it is also legendary and has a higher DPS, but the amount of DPS actually doesn't matter. We will deal the same damage as with the problem solver anyway. As usually, I will equip a Kanotsugu optics on my pistols because that gives me the best viewing field. Then we go for the X's Strix Silencer for the additional 10% crit chance. It reduces our weapon damage, but the weapon damage is not relevant anyway. All our damage will come from Short Circuit, and Short Circuit will not be affected by whatever silencer you use. Again, our weapon damage is completely not relevant, so we only go for Penetrator mods wherever we can. This will give us over 41% crit chance for this weapon. If we also add the 24% from our character, we are already sitting at a very comfortable 65% crit chance. So you would only have to invest a very minimal amount of points into merciless to get the remaining 35%. However, if you want to use other weapons as well, you have to use more. Another really cool weapon I've added here just for fun is the Dying Knight, because the Dying Knight is the first unique weapon you get, and it will have the lowest DPS of any weapon or any unique weapon in the game, with only 48 DPS, but it will still be able to apply the same 20,000 damage, which is just crazy and just shows how broken this mechanic is. The Dying Knight has a crazily increased headshot multiplier, however it does not seem to work properly with Short Circuit. It will increase your damage, but it doesn't increase it as much as you would thought it would. Having another 100 or 150% headshot damage will just add another 2,000 to 3,000 damage. Of course, here as well we go for the Kanotsugu optics and the X's Strix Silencer for maximum crit chance. You can of course perfectly play with a blade such as a Satori as well. On my headgear I was actually lucky to find a legendary headgear that gives me a 4% crit damage boost. Whenever you find any additional plus percentages for crit chance or crit damage, you should definitely use these items. On the other gear pieces I will mainly go for armadillo mods in almost every slot, except for our eyewear where I will equip a Fortuna mod that gives you 4% crit chance. The mod distribution is random for every player and you get a new seed every time you start the game. However, there's a high chance that you can find one of these Fortuna mods when you go into the back office of the Afterlife. Then you should look for some pants that either come with shock or poison immunity, so you are still able to get resistances versus all 3 elemental types. For the other 2 resistance types we will use our Cyberware. And then on the boots, of course, again just armadillo. For the clothing stuff you have to rely on your luck to find enough mods, but the weapons mods can always be purchased from all your weapons vendors, so it is no problem to get your perfect weapons. Now let's check out the Cyberware. In any build that even has remotely something to do with hacking, you definitely have to get the memory boost. Memory boost gives you 3 RAM modules back whenever you kill an enemy with your quick hack, and together with the Forget Me Not perk that will make it 4. So you will always get almost your entire RAM back whenever you kill an enemy. You will literally have infinite amount of RAM when using it. Then of course we will go for the 7% crit chance from the limbic system and the 30% critical damage from the visual cortex. In our Kiroshi optics we will place 3 trajectory analyzers. These mods definitely do stack and they do dramatically increase your damage when you only play with bullets. However, when most of your damage is coming from Short Circuit, their effect is actually not that big. So it is a valid option to actually replace them with weak spot detection, which gives you a total of 6% more crit chance. When I tested the damage with the weak spot detection, I got around 21,000 damage from the Short Circuit, and when I switched to trajectory analyzers I got around 23 to 22,000 damage. There was a significant damage increase, however it was not scaled as much as when you would only use bullets. So the weak spot detection is something you can consider if you need more crit chance, but trajectory analyzers will definitely outperform it in any other build. Then in the circulatory system, definitely go for a second heart. The single best Cyberware in the game revives you on death. The bioconductor will dramatically reduce the cooldown of second heart and also from your camouflage mod. And the biomonitor will basically act as a second heart backup. Gets a pain editor for 10% reduced damage, then either the metabolic editor or the shock absorber depending on what you have in your pants. With Reflex 12 you only get a rare Kirenzikov, so I placed the Reflex tuner in the other spot, which will probably help you a lot more. Then you go for the usual armor increase, the legendary camouflage mod and the heat converter to protect you from any fire damage. To get the most damage from the short circuit boost, you should actually use a Netwatch NetDriver Mark V, because it gives you a flat 30% damage boost for all your quick hacks, and that will also be applied to your weapons. Of course, we will use the short circuit with over 11,000 DPS, and then definitely also get the system reset. System reset will passively reduce the amount of RAM you need for all your quick hacks. If you like to use the ultimate quick hacks, Cyberpsychosis or Suicide, then you should consider to use the Tetratronic Rippler Mark IV, because it reduces the RAM cost of these ultimate quick hacks by an additional 3 RAM modules. With body 16 you are able to get the epic skeleton that gives you 50% more health, and the micro rotors will greatly increase your DPS if you ever want to do anything with blades. The hand slot is actually not important, but Smart Link is always a good option in case you ever want to pick up a smart weapon. The gorilla arms are always a good option because they will further increase your body levels by an additional 2, 4 or 6 levels, and will also allow you to open even the level 20 doors with this build. If you don't like the gorilla arms and the level increase, then of course monowire is a safe bet. And of course don't forget the tendons for your double jump. Last but not least, let's check out the skills. Of course we use a new meta here with Cool 20, Intelligence 20, and we still have enough points to get even 16 body and even 12 on Reflex. Reflex however is the least needed, since all our damage is coming from short circuit anyway, and tech is getting completely obsolete because we don't have to upgrade our weapons. So this build is just as strong as it can get. For the intelligence perks, it can't hurt to see all the terminals on the map and also increase the money you get from them, because you won't earn any money from crafting with this build. In the quick hacking tree you should go for Bloodware for the increased damage for your quick hacks, then Biosynergy for increased RAM refill, and then of course Critical Error, which actually makes your quick hacks crit, which is absolutely mandatory if you want to make your short circuit crit and apply it to your weapons. Subliminal Message will double your quick hack damage as long as you're out of combat, which is just another reason to never use Contagion. Forget-Me-Not will give you an additional RAM module every time you kill an enemy, which will stack together with Memory Boost for 4 modules in total. And if you want to spam quick hacks one after another without any cooldown, then definitely go for Daisy Chain. Also don't forget the optimization, which reduces all your RAM cost by 1 module. In the cool tree we will go for Assassin for increased damage versus all human targets, then Silent and Deadly to mitigate the negative effect from our silencers, so we get all our damage actually back for just using this perk. Of course go for Sniper for the increased headshot damage as long as you're out of combat, and Strike from the Shadows can't hurt if you want to increase your crit chance. In the Cold Blood tree it is really important to activate the Center Cold Blood perk, because without that any of this won't even work. You will have to drop a lot of points into the merciless finisher to get to 100% crit chance, but you can perfectly balance this for whatever weapon you want to play with. If you want to play with the Pride or with any weapon with a higher crit chance, you don't have to spend that much to reach 100%. But using 60 points here is required for almost every weapon, especially for the assault weapons. Frosty Synapses will further reduce your cooldown of your quick hacks, Coolagulant will make sure to remove all the stacks of Cold Blood one by one, Cold and Calculating will add more stacks of Cold Blood whenever you make a critical hit, Critical Condition will further prolong this effect, and Coldest Blood will add 2 more stacks of Cold Blood. If you get exactly these perks, then the maximum stack of Cold Blood will last for around 1 minute, and every time you kill an enemy, the effect will further be prolonged again and again and again. So as long as you keep killing enemies, it will never stop. In the Assault tree under Reflex, I recommend you get the damage increases from Bullet Shock, Bullseye and Executioner. However, these perks will only have a minor effect, and it might be better to just pick up the reloading speed. For pistols, you should definitely go for High Noon for the increased crit chance, and for Gunslinger for the increased reload time. And then optionally again, if you want to go for the damage increases, you can go for Desperado to get a 10% damage increase. Same goes for the critical damage and headshot damage increases, because they will likely not have that much of an effect in a short circuit build. Under body, I would actually only recommend you to get Pack Mule, the regeneration perk, and Invincible. If you want to play with melee weapons or blades, you should definitely pick up Steel and Chrome for the increased melee damage, and especially for blades also definitely get Roaring Waters and Sting Like a Bee. Anything else which would be good is either not unlocked, or it would only apply to bleeding enemies, which is useless anyway. I hope you like the new build. This is the perfect best endgame build that simply does everything. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave me a like, and see you next time.